I'm making this just because things have gotten crappier somehow. I'm feeling a bit better, but I'm not happy. Makes sense. Yeah, like, log into the game so you don't have to stare at my character screen all the time. Just gonna be talking about some shit that's gone down and just in general what's happened over the past, like, I don't know, like 10 years I think it's been now. So I was diagnosed autistic from a young age, I think I was like 5 or something, 6. And they didn't tell me much other than I was on the autism spectrum. I think I was labelled high functioning, but I wasn't actually that high functioning. It turns out at the moment I've actually sort of regressed, barely able to communicate, and even in situations like this I struggle to get all my sentences out that I want them to. Um, there's nothing I go to sleep, what the fuck? Okay, I was expecting that, I was just looking for a group for mount farming or something. Um, I'm not happy with how things have gone in adult life, and as I've gotten older, the basically the amount of fucking issues that I've developed have become too much to bear, and this becomes an issue when you're struggling with different things, like struggle with anxiety and stuff. Um, Back in 2016, I had a pretty horrific sort of crisis sort of thing happen, and it was very messy. I won't go into the specifics, but it ended with like police and going to the doctors a lot, and it wasn't pleasant at all. And that was a traumatic event in itself, just for the fact it happened. But then the doctors basically prescribed me antidepressants, and that was because I was feeling suicidal. And admittedly at the time I was sort of putting an act on, which, yeah, it's not good. It was like half putting an act on, half sort of being like, yeah, I'm feeling suicidal, like really. It's just half and half, really. And then I tried the antidepressants, and they fucked me up. Getting NSFW, but they caused things like low libido and trouble orgasming, which for me is is a huge deal to even keep that, and that's because it's like a source of dopamine, and I think even like a source of serotonin to an extent. Um, it's a big issue. Um, and there was also issues like being tired all the time. Like I couldn't play games. I was playing Overwatch at the time. Literally couldn't focus because these antidepressants are making me sleepy. And I stayed on it for a few weeks and stuff, and I was struggling because even though I had obviously the sexual issues, I still was aroused, and that was like the real kicker for me, really, because what ended up happening was I felt like I needed to relieve myself a lot in that way, and it backfired because of the medication. So I developed this anxiety about like, oh, am I going to be able to finish or not? Because I was like there for like an hour and a half, like trying to finish. It's like every time, and that was taking up most of my day. On top of that, I was dealing with tiredness and I think even stomach aches. Oh my god, it was hellish, and I literally have trauma from that now because it's such a horrific event itself. You know, the one thing that could sort of keep me happy and occupied is suddenly gone just because they want to treat the symptoms of depression. It's like fucking dangerous as well. I remember thinking that at the time. And I was glad when I come off it and basically my drive came back and stuff. So I thought I was fine for a few years, and then I became vegan in like, I say I had the right logic by the end of 2019. I became fully vegan in 2020, and I was doing fine for like the first year. I was learning all about ethics and stuff, and it was great. Then 2021 came out, and even though COVID was already sort of depressing in itself, what it's doing to people essentially, I started to develop symptoms of depression again. So I thought, I'll get onto that later. Um, Countless doctor's appointments, and I was also developing gastrointestinal issues, which turns out might be linked to autism. And I also need to bring that up with the people that are treating it at the moment, but somehow I don't think I'm listen. Um, it's scary because there's no like reported studies on like plant-based people even getting gastrointestinal issues this severe. I had an anal fissure, I had hemorrhoids at the same time, and the pains were reaching like 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s, and even somehow when I was trying to apply like the ointment, which I wasn't applying properly because they didn't instruct me to do it properly, didn't know how to apply it, I ended up struggling. And the pains reached a level of 15 out of 10 when it like spiked, literally rendered me immobile, and I was like fearing for my life at that point. It was fucking crazy the amount of pain I was in. Um, but it's that also was a traumatic event because again, you don't forget these things. If they're horrific, they're horrific. That's simply how it is. So forgetting them or even treating them are not simple options, to be honest. Because it's obviously like a part of a bigger issue, but it wasn't back then when I was trying to get this sorted out. And countless doctor's appointments and fingers on my arse, and nothing was being done. And it took me 3 years, I think, three, maybe two actually, to even get to the point where I could get a proper doctor's appointment and get a proper diagnosis for what this problem is, which involved a colonoscopy, which at 27 years old, that's not good, I don't think. Um, and it was discovered that after they grew some of the samples I had ulcerative colitis, which apparently is quite rare, I think. It is like bizarre. Also, the procedure apparently didn't go to plan, which is the other thing. Like, because I'm autistic, I don't respond to things the way that other people do. So when they put me on an anaesthetic, I think they injected me and that was it, trying to make me fall asleep. But it had the opposite effect. It made me more active, and it actually made me excited looking at what's in my fucking colon. It's so weird. It's such a bizarre experience. I hated the treatment beforehand though. I had to take a laxative and I vomited that up. Great. Thanks, I guess. That's annoying. Um, it was a struggle, definitely. Um, After that, I needed to get a treatment for that, and I got one eventually. I started with like pills, I think, and then I went on to like an injection thing, which at the moment not helping. I've already reported that, and they don't seem to listen. So that's where we're at with that. Um, it's like not physically helping. Apparently, it's working for like inflammation, but it's not working for my habits. So I don't know what to do there. Just to make the switch to like glass tubs, I've got one. think you can hear that. It's like I got stopped now. I used to eat out plastic tubs, BPA free, but it doesn't really matter, I don't think. Plastic tubs are sort of absorbing, I think, a lot of the bacteria and stuff. Um, Glass tubs, though, I don't know if they're working yet. It's too early to say. I've only used them for about a week now. Um, yeah, that's where I'm at with that. But then the mental health diagnosis, which I got, I guess 2023 actually. I'd say when I got it. I tried like an antidepressant before that, and that didn't help. It made me worse actually. I was like vomiting my guts up, like doing a proper reaching sound, and the windows were wide open, so I dread to think what the neighbours thought. I was like vomiting for constantly for an hour. It's one of the worst things I've ever had. I don't know if it was food poisoning or what. I definitely didn't feel like it because I'm pretty sure I would have known. I was like, there could have been a warning sign, like a stomach ache, but I don't think there was, from what I recall. After like vomiting all that up, and getting all the bile out as well, I was just shaky and tired. I was exhausted. It's one of the worst things I've ever had, regardless of whether it was the meds. But that caused me to stop because that was essentially dangerous as well. I think it was causing issues as well with like obviously like sex drive and stuff. It was also causing me to feel tired and stuff. I couldn't get to sleep well enough when I was on that. Again, same with the antidepressants I tried a lot before. But then I got the mental health diagnosis, and at first it was like an eye opener in a sense. I got the letter back from the person who assessed me for that, and it said that I had quite a few issues. Obviously, I was autistic, but I was apparently PEDD, which is like pathological divergence or something. It's like a PDA, pathological divergence avoidance or something. I can't remember the term, but it's like the opposite of that. It means like I'm more submissive and self-controlled in that sense. And that was quite an eye-opener in itself. Things started to get weird in that sense. Because I was also diagnosed for four other things. One of them was OCD, the other was anxiety disorder, the other one was panic disorder, and finally, the weirdest one of the lot, dysphoria. And at first I was like, okay, this answers a lot. It's good to finally get one, to get a diagnosis for this, but as I found out recently, that could all be false, except for the autism, because it's actually linked. But all these diagnoses could possibly be nothing now. And that's simply because I'm experiencing something different. All the time, they thought I was experiencing anxiety or OCD. Actually, I think I'm OCD, actually, now I think about it. Not so much, it affects anxiety, it's like when I wash something up, I can't leave a single spot, otherwise I have to wash it up again, that sort of thing. I have to wash my hands a lot as well when I touch things, it's that sort of thing. So I definitely have that. But everything else just doesn't add up. And the more I thought about it recently, the more I realise this isn't what I have at all. It's in fact something different, and I only found this out when I made a call to 111, which also happened because of feeling depressed because of a thing I heard that day. I was told by a doctor after trying to get another mental health assessment that I need to stay on the medication I'm on and seek out social support. Which, for me, someone who doesn't socialise much, doesn't like it really, that's hellish. And the fact they're even suggesting that goes to show how fucking stupid and close-minded they are. And I was just fed up because I knew the medication wasn't helping. The fact they told me to stay on it despite it not working as it should have, it's just crazy, and to me that's mistreatment. Simply put, it's just mistreatment. Like, you can't leave someone on a medication that isn't helping them. And I'm still getting side effects from it, like even now. I've woken up, had a drink, had my breakfast, and I'm tired. Like, why is that? Why am I tired? Why am I low energy? And the medication isn't helping that, I know that for sure. I shouldn't be feeling like this, because I've had like bad night's sleep before, and I had one last night actually. But before I've been able to get up and be energetic. But yeah, like when I called 111, they told me that I should be trying therapy. And I just randomly said I need something that caters to autism, because I can't cope with a therapist that doesn't understand autism. Because I've tried before. Weird fun facts. Not really fun actually. I tried like a year of therapy a few years ago. It wasn't helping. It was actually annoying to do. And that was just because the person didn't understand my autism. They kept piling on random information that means nothing to me. They'll give me like pages and pages of fucking text. It's like, I don't want to read this. I don't care. Like, if it's something you can tell me, just tell me. Like, that's it. No, it's more homework than actual therapy. So, again, another mistreatment of probably the NHS, depending on. I don't know if the service is funded by it, but they keep referring to it anyway. Anyway, I brought that up in the call, and they began listing the symptoms of autistic burnout. And I had all of them. And that was like the moment where I realised something's gone horribly wrong in this. Something's not right here, and I can't tell what is exactly. I just know that the medication isn't working because I'm experiencing something completely different. And that's the problem, really. And also, like, weird sort of tangent of Friday, I struggle with like processing dopamine and serotonin, which is why, again, I have like a sex drive. It's like, yeah, that's why I need it. It's because I handle it differently. It's not as simple as throwing medication at it, and it's a situation that needs to be handled carefully. Whether the NHS doesn't understand. That's a fun fact there. But anyway, after the call, I sort of made a request to the doctor, and it was to review medication. And you would have thought things would go better from now, and I've even self-referred myself to therapy again, asking for an autistic therapist, one that understands it anyway. And I went to the appointment only yesterday, and pretty much nothing was done to help. I would go as far as to say there was zero consideration, zero consulting with me. It was like they put the answers in my mouth for me. So I'm in a situation where I can't literally get any treatment. Like, if there is medication for autistic burnout, and simply put, there isn't. They aren't aware of it, I don't think. And that's when I realised there's like really horribly wrong with this. And so I did with research and stuff. I was prescribed sertraline, which I'm very skeptical about based on experiences I asked about and also like videos I've seen about it and how people like treat the side effects from that. And I've got a mixed response from every single side, and I think that's a bad sign because there is a case where this is actually placebo. It's not real, essentially. Um, People are experiencing good benefits because they believe that it's doing good, essentially. That's what a lot of medication relies on, as far as I know. And I think there's even been proven in studies, if I'm not mistaken, that like relies on people thinking, I'm taking something to feel better, so I must feel better then. That's not how it works. And I think that's sort of happened in my case of like starting mirtazapine and quetiapine from over a year ago now, I think. I stopped taking quetiapine because it's too much for my physical health, just to have two meds at once. But I'm stopping mirtazapine now, and I'm not going to take sertraline. Simple as. And there's a very good reason for that. Nowhere does it say that the treatment for autistic burnout is an SSRI medication. Nowhere does it say there's a study that SSRIs treat autistic burnout. As you can imagine, I'm very pissed off, very defeated as well. It's just unbelievable to even look at this because, like, why are we prescribing things that don't even treat the cause of the problem? And that's really my entire issue with the NHS and how they treat people, especially autistic people. And I did some research as well. Like, NHS doesn't even recognise autism to start with. Well, it's autistic burnout, actually, it's wrong. They don't recognise autistic fatigue or autistic burnout. It's not two different terms. In the same thing. So what's essentially happening is, I think they are trying to kill autistic people. But there's no other way to put it. And even though there's like, not in my case, but I think there's been like studies on it. There's a difference in like the serotonin levels and processing of autistic people versus neurotypical people. So the fact that they're prescribing something that supposedly gives serotonin is dangerous itself. Because the problem isn't going to be serotonin, it's going to be changing the way you process it. So what we need in the end isn't a fucking SSRI, antidepressant, whatever. It's something that changes how it's processed. Simple as. And do any medications that exist? I don't know. Again, it's not my place to be talking it because I'm not a health expert. I can only talk on like my own personal experience and how much I know my body, and what I can handle. But one of the other things I was thinking about before any of this went down, I've like I've had plenty of good days without like the worry of like taking medication and having to get diagnosed and stuff. But how did I handle it back then? It's like I wasn't on anything. Essentially, I was just being myself, and that was it. And that's been a sort of eye opener for me. Yeah, I'm trying to think, is there anything else I can add to this? Um, but I'm just fed up as well. I mean, last year I've actually been to more doctor's appointments than I've had treatments, and to me, that's sort of testament also to like how badly handled it is. And I suppose I can add essentially what would improve the NHS. Because, yeah, like, I'm not one to sort of criticise things and be like, fuck them. I want to help, I want to do good in the world. So it's been an underlying belief of mine. So, what can the NHS do? I think, in general, they need to be carefully doing appointments, because I noticed that whenever I call my GP, for example, they're always quick to rush me to an appointment and rush me out with a medication. It's like rush me out with a prescription, and that's not a good sign. And that's because people will not essentially be looking for a treatment necessarily. They're looking for the cause, and then they'll look for the treatment. Simple as that. Also, a newer generation is coming along, obviously, and I think we need to understand that people are going to start self-diagnosing because essentially the NHS is not taking the time to do that, and that's going to cause problems. Not the young people diagnosing, but the NHS's inability to do so. And the fact that it took me 3 years to even get, well, I use my autism diagnosis and OCD, is absurd. It shouldn't take that long. And it shouldn't be like that mishandled for that many years. You know, it should be a case of, okay, we've done like a pre-screening, let's say, and we'll refer you to X team. You should get a call within X amount, preferably weeks, I'd say. We'll plan in advance to get the actual diagnosis, and that's it. That's all it takes. Not a sit down, tell me your problem, we'll give you a medication. That's not how you do it. What's going on with that? No, so those actually players. No, I don't think so. Again, let's see if I don't remember them being there. Yeah. It's incredibly frustrating as well. So just not rushing people out, just be careful about it. But the other thing sort of ties into this is you need specialists. What I mean by that is people who specify in a certain area. And obviously based on how many people get what things, like physical health problems, no doubt need more doctors. Mental health, you need a few still. There's like different areas, and having a GP, because they're called general practitioners, are not good. And that's because they're not specialised in these topics, say health issues and stuff. So they're not going to help because they're not specialised in that. So they can't treat you essentially. Also, like increasing pay for them as well is important. I will say that. I'm aware of that itself. It doesn't save the fact that I was mistreated anyway. Yeah, like being more precise, definitely important, but specialising is definitely the biggest thing. Because you need to specialise in something to obviously diagnose and then treat it. If someone specialises in depression, for example, that person obviously should handle all cases of depression and determine whether it is or isn't depression. For example, in my case, if someone got to autistic burnout from depression, then they shouldn't be fucking diagnosing it and treating it. Simple. Also, that's the thing that pisses me off about the situation, because I think it's also a case of GPs just thinking, oh, this person has X symptoms, so let's treat X symptoms with the why treatment, only because why treatment is known to work for that. Even that's not always the case, and again, like people on antidepressants have mixed reactions anyway. So it's not like it's one size fits all. There's no such thing as a one size fits all. That's a problem there. Yeah. As I say with the next thing of like treating autistic people, I think it needs to be like a case of having someone again that specialises in it in autism. And I think if like the person with like the depression specialism, it's like if they say, okay, well, I think you probably don't have depression, you probably have autistic burnout, they should be able to make an appointment with again the autism specialist. As simple as that. That's why it's important to like split this up instead of making it a one size fits all. That's why it's not sustainable or efficient. And another weird thing, like in my doctors for some reason, there's like TV screens with like adverts or shit on it. Most of them are pointless because again, this ties into the issues I've described. Like the first thing that I remember seeing is like each appointment you miss wastes like £400 or something. This is like stupidly fucking ignorant, and it's also like I don't know what you call it. A term for it, I can't remember. Presumptuous? I don't know, something like that. But like people miss appointments either one because there's an emergency, two their mental health. In my case, I wouldn't go to appointments because I'm going through autistic burnout. As simple as that. Or three, people have an appointment and forget. So it's like, yeah, like people are going to miss appointments. And as much as that wastes someone else's time, someone who could possibly be treated easily, that's not always going to be possible to avoid. And this is the thing with like, for some reason my GP is like old school. I don't have online consultations like my last one actually had. But you need to phone up and go in person, which is fucking dumb. I've already complained about that, and they haven't done anything about it. So people are going to miss appointments on purpose just because they're inefficient, and I am as well. I'm going to miss them. I'm not going to tell anyone about it. Till they can get me appointments that accommodate my autism, they can fuck off. If they speak to me through a phone, fuck off because I can't talk in person. Simple. But then there's like the other adverts, which is like every year people waste £400 million on medication. Gee, I wonder why the fuck that is. It must be because people are stupid, that's why. No, you're wrong, dumb fucks. It's because you rush them out the door with a prescription that won't help them. You know, I was prescribed inhalers for my breathing problems, which have recently gone away, for the most part anyway. And it turns out all my inhalers are useless because they said so. But not only that, apparently I might not even have asthma anymore, even though I've been diagnosed with it. So, all this medication that quote unquote goes to waste is a result of your mistreatment of patients. Not people acting like they don't need medication, it's people knowing they don't need it. And that's because of, again, misdiagnosis and mistreatment. So, yeah, like, people are gonna fucking waste it, you idiots. Like, it's a no brainer. And this is sort of my challenge to, like, any GP or especially NHS higher up. go through the process of getting a diagnosis, go with someone actually, get a first-hand experience, and understand like why people are essentially wasting medication, wasting appointments. See how badly it's wrong, and that way you'll know why it's bad. Like, fuck me. I literally can't believe we're in a situation like this. But I think that's enough of that. Thanks for watching, saying whatever. So, rant about the NHS, but yeah. I don't know if it can change. We'll have to wait and see. Everyone, Avatar.